Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to our new series. We will be covering MPL 1 from under 14s to under 17s. This is episode 1 and we will be talking about who qualified, who's playing who, and ones to watch. Kicking off the under 14s campaign is winners of the West, Western United, taking on winners of the East, Manningham United. This will be a great clash, 9 a.m. at Ironbark. Following that, we have the two most inconsistent clubs in MPL, Melbourne City and Dandenong City. Essendon Royals and Glenara are next up. At Cross Keys Reserve, 9:30 a.m, two contenders who could go top 8. The Western clash of Avondale and Caroline Springs George Cross is at Fairbairn Park at 9:30. They've already played each other in the qualifiers, but both teams have a chance to do better than the last time. Melbourne City vs Melbourne Victory will be our game of the round. Both teams showing their quality in qualifiers and both teams having a chance to win the whole thing this year. Dark Horses Dandenong Thunder take on Green Gully at George Andrews Reserve at 9:30. The clash of the Lions with Bulleen Lions vs Eastern Lions takes place at Venator Club right after that. And finally, to end off this MPL 1, Week 1 for under 14s, we have Brunswick Juventus vs Brunswick City, the clash of the Brunswicks. Bumping up to under 15s, we again have Manningham United taking on Western United at Ironbark at 10:45. South Melbourne will be taking on Green Gully, with South Melbourne having their only successful team qualify for Div 1 in under 15. Melbourne City and Dandenong City again showing their class, playing at Casey Fields at 11:10. With Essendon Royals and Glenara again playing at Cross Keys Reserve. Avondale this time will be playing North Geelong, who have to take the trek to Fairbairn Park so they can play each other again. Melbourne City vs Melbourne Victory will be the under 15 game of the round, as both teams were undefeated in qualifiers and both teams are everyone's favourite to be 1 and 2. Bulleen Lions will be taking on Hume City, who had a very successful campaign amongst all three higher age groups, not including the 14. And finally, Brunswick Juventus will be taking on FV Academy. In the under 16s this time, it is Melbourne City and Dandenong City, with Essendon Royals and Glenara again following that game. Melbourne City vs Melbourne Victory will be our game of the week again for the third time, with both clubs involved. And Western United will be taking on Dark Horses Heidelberg, who managed to get a 4-4 draw with Melbourne Victory during the qualification phase. Altona and Green Gully, who have previously played each other in qualifiers, will be playing again in the first round of Div 1. And Bulleen Lions and Hume City will be following the 15's footsteps, playing each other at Venator Club at 1 p.m. Both Dark Horses, Box Hill and Melbourne Knights will be facing each other at 1 p.m. at Wembley Park. Green Gully will be taking the trek all the way to play most surprising team, Murray United, at 3 p.m. at Barranduda Fields. With Melbourne City and Dandenong City completing the quadruple, having all teams qualifying, playing each other at Casey Fields at 3 p.m. following the 16s. Essendon Royals this time will not be playing Glenara, however they will be playing Oakley Cannons, who qualified in the South District over Glenara. Northcote City will be taking on FV Academy at Darebin, as Northcote City were one of the most dominant teams in the whole of qualification for under 17s, being the top spot in the East District. For the fourth time, Melbourne City vs Melbourne Victory will be our game of the round, with both teams excelling in qualifiers. Bulleen and Hume City will complete the treble at Venator Club at 3 p.m, having the 15s, 16s, 17s qualifying for Hume. Box Hill complete the qualification for the two higher age groups, taking on Caroline Springs George Cross at Wembley Park. With the final game of this round being the Battle of the Distance, Geelong vs Western at Western's home ground. Now it's time for ones to watch. We will be looking at the best scorers and the best teams from qualifiers. Starting off in the under 14s, the top scorer was Alejandro Trulucio with 22 goals. In under 15s, with just one goal less, was Nathan Niahos from North Geelong Warriors, who will be a force for the defenders to have to worry about in Div 1. This is where it gets insane. Melbourne City's Thomas Nasso managed to get 42 goals in the qualification phase for South, with 6 goals against Gippsland, 2 goals against Oakley, 4 goals against Bentley, 3 goals against FV Academy, 3 goals against Langwarrin, 5 goals against Dandy Thunder, 3 goals against Glenara, 4 goals against Kingston, 7 goals against Mornington, and 5 goals against Berwick, with the only team who managed to keep him goalless being Dandenong City, who he will be playing first round. And finally, for under 17s, we have Harris Resmani from Melbourne City, managing to get 22 goals in the qualification phase. This consisted of 7 goals against Gippsland United, 6 goals against Langwarrin, and 7 goals against Mornington. However, Melbourne City, they don't just have attackers, they also have defenders. Showing this in the qualification phase for South, scoring 87 goals in 10 games and only conceding 6. Keeping this trend was again Melbourne City in the under 16s. They scored 89 goals in 11 games, 42 of them being Thomas Nasso's, and only conceding 4. 85 goal difference, 33 points. 0 games lost, 0 games drawn, 11 games won. In under 15s, it was favourites, Melbourne City taking out the goal difference, with 61 goal difference, 68 goals, and 7 conceded, with an undefeated campaign, which included 10 wins and 1 draw against Bulleen. In the 14s, it was Western United who took out the most goals with 78. However, that's not the most impressive thing. They didn't get the least goals conceded. That went to Glenara, who over 11 games conceded 2. The goals coming from Dandenong Thunder in a 3-1 win to Glenara and Oakley Cannons in a 1-0 win to Oakley, who still did not manage to make Div 1. That was this week's episode of NPL Unwrapped by au.ballerz. Make sure to tune in next week for the ones to watch for the best games of round 1 and the ladder update from round 1. Thank you for watching. Comment who you think will be the best player, who you think will get the golden boot, and who you think will win the league in every single age group. Thank you for watching.